video. So we're doing a quadratic formula, and I'm going to rewrite that over here. You have x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and this whole thing is over 2a. Alright, so once again, I want to go over the a, b, and c, just because that seems to be a really small issue sometimes when this happens, but something that's so easily fixed and corrected. So if you notice, again, every time I do this, I put what it goes with, so we can kind of remember what a, b, and stand for. And it's always the coefficient. It's never the actual variable. So a is 1, b is negative 8, and c is negative 20. So we'll go ahead and do our equation. Since this is negative 8, it's a negative and a negative, so it's a positive 8 plus or minus the square root of, and we can do this math, so I'm not going to type or write this all out anymore. I did it on the first example, but I'm not going to do it on the second. So we're doing b squared, and negative 8 times negative 8 is positive 64, because a negative times a negative is a positive. We have negative 4 times a, which is 1, and c, which is negative 20, and that negative blended in, so let me make it there. And then 2 times a, which is 1. If you notice, this is a small part of the axis of symmetry, because it's negative b over 2a. Okay, there's a little bit of a connection there, just something to think about. So you actually know part of this, you just don't know this part, and it's actually called the and I just probably butchered that spelling. Discriminant. I'm gonna put spelling question mark because I can't spell. But it's, yeah, you actually already know part of the formula. All right, so you have 64. You have a minus 4 times 1 times negative 20. You don't have to worry about the 1. 4 and 20 is 80 multiplied together, and a negative and a negative is positive. So you have 64 plus 80 over 2, all over 2. And you're going to hear my handy-dandy calculator. Just make sure I do the math right. And you get 8 plus or minus, we're adding this up, and you get 144. And it's all over 2. Luckily enough, the square root of 144 is a perfect square. This is a perfect square. So that comes out as 12. Oops, I put a 1. I forgot the 1. So we have that. So we have to do our two answers. So remember, this means x equals, that's what we're trying to solve for. We're going to do 8 plus 12 over 2. So 20 over 2, which is 10. And then the other option is subtracting. So do 8 minus 12 over 2. 8 minus 12 is negative 4 divided by 2, and that's negative 2. So our answer in this situation is negative 2 and 10. And remember, again, we're using braces. It just doesn't look like it. We're not using parentheses because it's not a coordinate point. Good answer. All right, number 2, I would like to at least find the a, b, and c with you, and then I want to set you on your own way to do this problem. Quadratic formula is not too bad. It's just a bunch of calculation, okay? So a is with the x squared, so 3. There's no x, so 0, and the c is negative 12, all right? And once again, I want you to write the formula every single time you use it, because that will help at least make me feel like I'm forcing it into your head. Okay, go ahead and try this problem, see what you can do. Restart it when you're done or you're stuck, right? So pause the video now. All right, now that we've started the video, let's go ahead and finish this problem, and hopefully in the meantime I can clean up my handwriting because it looks atrocious. All right, negative b. Remember when we talked about you have reverse, you have neutral, and you have derive. Reverse is like your negatives, your derive is like your positive, and neutral 0. 0 cannot be negative or positive, and yes, a car can roll forward or backwards depending on, gravity, incline or elevation, or what direction you were going prior to it. Okay, but 0 is not negative, so don't write negative 0. Pet peeve. Pet peeve. All right, awesome. B squared is 0, and so 0 squared is 0. So write that 0 just for my sake, please, because what happens is sometimes we lose this negative. So let's remember we're subtracting here. 4 times a, which is 3, times c, which is negative 12. And then all over, We're dividing this whole thing by 2 times a, so that's 6. Okay, negative 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, and negative 12 times negative 12 is positive 144. Now, hopefully you caught on to something. We have negative 12 times negative 12. Let's just ignore the negative, okay? We have positive 12 times positive 12. Only pairs come out of a square root. So the square root of 144 is 12, which we already talked about, so bad example. I'm actually going to get rid of the 0 at this point because there's no point for it. Not to say point twice. I don't know why I wrote the square root. If you take the square root, you do not write the square root symbol. Okay, so we have 2 answers. You have a positive 12 divided by 6, which is 2, and you have a negative 12 divided by 6, which is negative 2. So your final answer is negative 2 and 2. And I'm going to ask a question. What is the other way you can write this? We talked about it when we did square roots. What is the other way you can write this without having to write the braces? Hopefully your thought process is you can write it as plus or minus 2. The one thing that's kind of great about mathematicians is that we're lazy. Holy bad English. We're lazy. We really are. We like to make up symbols, so we have less writing to do. So I would totally write it this way. If you want to write this way, go for it, but might as well embrace the laziness of mathematicians, okay? They're here for you. All right, I'm going to stop the video here, and then we're going to go into irrational solutions, okay? So see you in the next video.